What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Turtle. This is Outlier Fantasy. We're going to skip the intro today. We're going to go right into a way too early mock draft to kick off the 2026 fantasy football offseason. I felt like this was a great time to make this video, especially considering that two of the wide receivers that I have been very much targeting at this point in the offseason, guys like Malik Nabers and Rashee Rice, both are seeing their names pop up in the news, and it's not for good reasons. Both of them are getting constructive knee surgery during this offseason to fix up prior injuries and surgeries in their careers. However, Rashee Rice may be facing some sort of NFL suspension. At least in my opinion, I could see him missing a few games. I think both Malik Nabers and Rashee Rice's draft stocks are going to fall back. They're probably not going to be these strong second-round picks that I thought they were going to be, and that's okay, and that's why we're here today, to do some sort of mock draft and get an idea of how we can pivot instead of going the strategy that I was talking about last week in terms of grabbing your wide receivers early, grabbing your running backs later. We may see running backs go a little earlier. So in this draft, I have a 12-man league. I'm picking from the 6th spot. We'll talk about why I'm picking from the 6th spot as the draft goes on. We're going to do one quarterback, two running back, two wide receivers, a tight end, and two flexes. I did start up a video previously doing 3 wide receivers, and I noticed a lot of the ADPs in terms of Fantasy Pros and their system. Shout out to Fantasy Pros, though. That's the platform we're going to be drafting on today. It's a phenomenal system, but making it a 3 wide receiver league, a lot of the computers were taking wide receivers that I felt like maybe it was a little too early to be taking these guys. So instead of that, we'll go 2 flex in hopes that more running backs will be taken in the beginning of the draft. That way, there's no like Derrick Henry falling to you in the middle of the 3rd round, things like that. And they're not overreaching for guys that I'm not too high on this year, like a George Pickens perhaps. So let's just go ahead. Let's start the draft. We're picking from the 106. The reason we're going to go ahead and pick from the 106 in this draft is because, of course, doesn't go according to plan, but this should be Jahmyr Gibbs going here and not Christian McCaffrey. I won't be taking Jahmyr Gibbs because I feel like that's just unrealistic. We know that the big 3 of wide receivers are Jamar Chase, JSN, and Puka Nacua, and the next 2 running backs in a tier of their own are Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. So I'm just going to pretend like Christian McCaffrey's on the board, and I could pick him if he was available. Jahmyr Gibbs, we're not going to take him because realistically, the draft starts at the 106, and guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan, and the big 3 wide receivers are already going to be off the board. So let's just bypass that. We can go Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, or Jonathan Taylor if we want a running back. Jonathan Taylor is a good pick at this point, and so would be Christian McCaffrey, but we're just going to pretend like Jahmyr Gibbs isn't here for the sake of this video because me drafting Jahmyr Gibbs at the 106 is not going to be realistic to your fantasy football leagues. Let's just call it what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and take Amon-Ra St. Brown, my first pick, going safe at wide receiver, and we'll see what running backs fall to me here in round 2. Devon Achane is the pick before. That's very unrealistic. Having Jahmyr Gibbs and Devon Achane in your leagues. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen in your league. I would not imagine Devon Achane going after a George Pickens or after an Ashton Genty. But we see that the computer is still taking Malik Nabers and Rashee Rice very high, so that's going to change in a couple weeks, in a couple months perhaps. We see Nico Collins is available. That's a good pick. I could take a running back before I miss out on the opportunity to take one. I'd like to see if maybe Josh Jacobs falls to me in round 3. So with that, let's double up at wide receiver. We're going to go Nico Collins and Amon-Ra St. Brown. A strong start to the beginning of the draft. As expected, Josh Jacobs is available for us. We could go Ladd McConkey. I think that's a great pick. Ted McMillan is what Fantasy Pros thinks is the best available pick. Top suggestion is Jeremiah Love. I almost said Jordan Love. But instead of Jeremiah Love, I'm going to go a little safer. I'm going to go Josh Jacobs here with my 3rd round pick. And we'll see what lands to us here in round 4. We're starting to see that the quarterbacks are coming off the board. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Drake May go after Josh Allen in round 3. Colston Loveland is already off the board, which I think is insane. Here in round 4, I'm not going to get another high-end running back, in my opinion. I can get wide receivers. We see there's Jameson Williams, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze later on. Sure, DeAndre Swift and Quinshon Judkins, David Montgomery, they're good, but they're not the tier that Travis Etienne is. So I'm going to select Travis Etienne. I have 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers in my first 2 picks. I'm feeling very good about that. We see Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, and Jameson Williams are the best 3 available. I would take Jameson Williams if I didn't draft Amon-Ra St. Brown, unfortunately. Terry McLaurin is an interesting one. Looking at some other names on this list, I do like Rome Odunze a lot. I can go running back again just to make sure I have really good running back depth. And while I already have 2 guys, so if he misses the beginning of the year, Cam Scatterboo seems like the best pick in my opinion at this point. Sure, I may not have him for week 1, but in terms of the entire season as a whole, having Cam Scatterboo as my 3rd running back sounds phenomenal. So I'm going to go ahead and take him there. I personally like to fade the tight end and quarterback spot as much as possible early in the draft. I don't think there's much of a chance for value or opportunity there. And we see a lot of quality wide receivers come off the board, guys like Terry McLaurin, Jameson Williams, Christian Watson, Rome Odunze, who I would have loved to have, and Jordan Tyson are off the board. Now I'm looking. It feels like it's only right to take a Carnell Tate after we made the video about him. DeAndre Swift is still available, though, and I'm going to pass on DeAndre Swift for Carnell Tate because I feel like at this point in the draft, I can go ahead and get a running back in the next round. I'm not going to be able to get a guy like Carnell Tate when the pick comes back to me. And unfortunately, the guy I wanted, Jadarian Price, is gone. So that is a killer. I can go Alec Pierce, who seems like a value at this point in the draft. Not going to lie. Rico Dowdle is here. I like that pick a lot as well. DK Metcalf is on the board. We'll probably stay away from DK Metcalf. I can go quarterback, Jackson Dart with rushing upside. I can pair up Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo. That's not a bad idea whatsoever. There are a lot of quarterbacks that have been taken already, and there's even more quarterbacks that could be available to me later, like Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, and Bo Nix. So maybe we'll hold off on that position. I'm thinking here, best bet would be on the way back, taking a quarterback or tight end, whichever one has less quality options available. And we're going to go Alec Pierce here as my 4th wide receiver. We have 3 quality running backs. We have 4 wide receivers. I'm going to need some insurance at the running back position later, though, because who knows when Cam Scatterboo is going to come back. But when he does come back, I'm going to have a 3-headed monster of middle round running backs that I feel very good about. No, I don't have Bijan Robinson. I don't have Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't have Devon Achane or any of the elite running backs in the first couple rounds, but these are all guys that are definitely going to produce on my fantasy football team. I'm seeing Sam Laporta already went. That's a bummer. I would have loved to have him. Quarterbacks are here and are available for me. I don't know if I want to go that route just yet, and I don't love the idea of forcing myself to take a Kyle Pitts because of ADP value. The experts are saying to take Trevor Lawrence. I may just go ahead and take Dak Prescott, but the problem with that is taking Jake Ferguson on the way back and going quarterback tight end is something I really don't like to do unless I'm forced to do it. I will wait on a tight end, and I'm going to take Dak Prescott here. I missed Jackson Dart by a pick. That would have been phenomenal to have. I don't love the idea of drafting Trevor Lawrence, so I'm going to stay away from that. I could have waited on a quarterback and got a Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, or Bo Nix, which would have been phenomenal. But instead, I'm going to beef up my running back room, make sure I have insurance. And somebody like Blake Corum, in my opinion, is someone that could absolutely break out this year and steal the job away from a Kyren Williams. We saw how that went at the end of last season. So I'm going to take Blake Corum, bolster up my running back position. And when it comes back to me here, I see that I can still take Jake Ferguson. I could still take a quarterback. So either way, I'm in a good spot. I'm going to stack Jake Ferguson and Dak Prescott together and make that my quarterback tight end tandem. Only a couple more picks in this draft. Guys like Chris Rodriguez, guys like Rachaad White, players that I'm very high on are off the board, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to take them. I probably am going to look to get I could go backup quarterback, but that just doesn't seem right for this mock draft. Quentin Johnston is a quality wide receiver and somebody I'd be willing to take. He's definitely the best available wide receiver. If we go ahead and look here, running backs that are available, nothing really that jumps out to me as somebody that I need to be drafting for this team. We have a tight end, we have a quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and take Quentin Johnston here. Teams are taking multiple tight ends. This is good to know. I can go ahead and take Brock Purdy, which is interesting. A lot of quarterbacks are the best available now at this point in the draft. I don't feel phenomenal about my wide receivers right now. I don't feel phenomenal about my running back situation, but there's really nobody here that I feel like I could absolutely grab at a value. Maybe I should have waited on a tight end and taken a Chris Rodriguez or somebody that I felt very high on. And here's where it's starting to get tricky. I want to take a wide receiver, but I know the wide receiver will come back to me at my 13th and last pick in this draft. So I'm going to take a backup tight end in Juwan Johnson just for insurance purposes. There should be a quarterback that we could grab on waiver wire if this were a real league and we had the opportunity to do so. And now I'm going to go over to wide receivers. I'm thinking about Denzel Boston, potentially a rookie breakout, but doesn't play in a phenomenal offense. And I'm going to take Jalen McMillan, somebody that I'm very high on, somebody I think is going to command a bigger target share than more people expect. And I could afford to go with more wide receivers at this point. No, I don't feel phenomenal about my 4 running backs, but I know that I could lock in Josh Jacobs and Travis Etienne all year till Cam Scatterbo comes back. I have the wide receivers in Amon-Ra and Nico Collins. Flexing Carnell Tate and Alec Pierce every week feels great. I also have Quentin Johnston for depth. And as long as I have 2 running backs, it's a 2-flex league, I can go ahead and have the luxury of taking a Jalen McMillan with my last pick. And that's going to be how the draft ends up. Looking at the teams and looking at who went where, definitely quarterback went very early in this draft, something I wasn't expecting. Guys like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson all going in the same round. Then having Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and Drake May all follow that in the 4th round. Justin Herbert going as early as round 6 is crazy in my opinion, but hey, this is how the computer is going to roll. And I really like the idea of stacking 2 elite wide receivers with 3 more than capable running backs throughout the year. Yes, we're waiting on Cam Scatterbo to return from injury in this team, but having Blake Corum as insurance to maybe be a late riser during the year definitely helps out as well. So these 4 running backs are something I feel very good about. Obviously, 4 running backs is probably not ideal to be drafting and worrying about all the other positions, but this is only 13 rounds. It's not a full team. I wanted to make a quick mock. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this team. I think Carnell Tate here in round 6 is a phenomenal pick. I mean, look at the wide receivers going right before. Guys like DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Jordan Tyson, Marvin Harrison Jr., and I'm getting Carnell Tate, which feels great. And the tier drop-off that follows after Carnell Tate and guys like Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers. Not to say that Cortland Sutton isn't a great player, not to say that Chris Godwin isn't a very good player in fantasy, but Chris Godwin deals with a lot of injuries. He was up and down last year. Cortland Sutton has Jalen Waddle to take away his targets this year, so that's going to be interesting. This is still a team that likes to run the ball a lot, and like I said, I think Jalen McMillan is someone that could really carve out a role for themselves in this offense. When available, when healthy, has played really good. So using a 13th round pick on a guy that, as long as he stays healthy, is a quality player, that feels like something that's worth the risk and reward. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Figured we'd do a quick mock draft, talk about, how these guys are probably not going to be 2nd round picks for much longer. Guys like George Pickens are probably going to jump them, even though I don't think it's worth doing that. I feel like overall this was a solid draft. Nothing too out of the ordinary in terms of ADP, other than quarterbacks going very early. But hey, we still get Dak Prescott, a capable starter. We stack him with Jake Ferguson, and we have another tight end just in case things go wrong there. Maybe we could flex one of these guys if we needed to. That's all well and good. But yeah, having a team with 3 dog wide receivers in Carnell Tate, Nico Collins, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is fun, while also being able to get high floor running backs. Maybe not the highest ceiling out of this group, but Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne definitely have the floor to do so. And I think Cam Scatterbo is the upside in being a high-end running back this year, especially where you see another tier break. I'm taking advantage of these tier breaks in round 5s and 6. At running back and wide receiver, we see Bucky Irving go after. We see DeAndre Swift and Chuba Hubbard. I think Cam Scatterbo is a better player than all of those guys by a lot. I would say he's a lot closer to a Travis Etienne, Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry than he is the Chuba Hubbards, Travion Hendersons, and Bucky Irvings of the world. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Turtle. This is Outlier Fantasy, and I will see you in the next video. Wow, you stuck to the end of this video? Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen right now. And don't forget, before you leave, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any fantasy football videos on this channel. And that's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one.